Welcome back to the craft room. This is Susan with Paper Craft Possibilities. Today we're going to be working with the collection from Stampin' Up called Sentimental Christmas. And if you missed my video, I think it was last time or the time before, I have found it helpful for me to make little, I think these are 2-inch strips or 2-inch squares, pardon me, of each of the papers. So front and back of each paper. And I've put it in here. And then these are all the paper colors that correspond with this collection. And I'm very visual, so this is very helpful to me. So today I'm going to show you some of these pictures, some of the papers that are a little bit bigger instead of your little 2-inch formats there. And these are some of the papers I'm going to use today. And it's very appropriately named the Sentimental Collection because a lot of these give you that retro feel. So I went back to my very first Christmas, and this is moi back in the 60s. Yep, I'm that old. Just until recently, I had this doll still, and what was interesting is my uncle gave it to me, and I was as big as the doll. So there we go. I think I was 7 months old at this point. Yep, there's a picture of me and the doll. So me and my mom. So I'm going to go ahead and record those. So let me run that intro and we'll be right back. So two of the stamp sets that I want to use today are the decorative trees and then the sentimental wishes. And hopefully you found out that this is one that I had actually cut out, stamped, and then colored. But what I'm enjoying about Stampin' Up papers is a lot of times they coordinate their paper with the dies. So here we have one of a sock, or the, Christmas sock. And you'll line this up, that actually cuts that out of the paper. And then we have a bow, and this bow coordinates down here. So it just makes it great and easy if you're not fond of fussy cutting or coloring. You have that option. And then obviously when the paper is gone, you still have the option of having the stamps and the die cuts. So I thought that was worth mentioning. And let me bring in the papers. First of all, let me run through these so you can see these closely. I'm going to be using a piece of this on my 2-page layout today. I thought this was kind of unusual for Christmas and I love it. So I'm going to come back in with a lot of sparkle and use this later on. Not today, another time. There are some dies that I believe cut out these reindeer. And definitely a vintage piece of artwork here that really brings me back to the 60s and 70s. There is a die cut also that cuts these out. This one I'm going to use for some snow layout. So you'll see that popping up maybe a little later in the winter. And I love this one. I almost used this today in my layout, but I'm thinking it was just a little too creamy. I was wanting to stick more in the whites. I know I want to start these double page layouts with some papers that are stuck to the side. With some real red, that's the color of it, real red cardstock. I had to take just a few minutes and straighten up my camera for you. Okay, so what I've done is I took one of these sheets of paper, the 12 by 12, and I have cut it into triangles. So what I had done is I took my T-ruler, and obviously it doesn't go all the way across. So what I had done then is I lined this up with my triangle down here and connect it there. And then I did a very faint pencil line, and then I just hand cut it. Because on the cutting, pardon me for the loud noise, the cutting devices we have don't cut at an angle like this on a 12-inch piece. So what I'm wanting to do, I'm wanting this to stick for a few more minutes, so let's Put a little bit of tape down. Repositional tape is wonderful. Someone had written to me too on one of my videos recently and wanted to know about our black mats. And yes, these are from Close to My Heart. And they obviously, Close to My Heart has closed its doors and these mats are no longer available. I have a call out to Stampin' Up to see if they have plans of bringing these back or what we can do as an option. I have ordered a couple of mats and it's not something that I can recommend. I wasn't too terribly happy with them. So I'm hoping that Stampin' Up will have the answers for us and that they possibly bought the rights to make these. So when I have answers, I'll let you know, but these mats are incredibly helpful when lining things up because of all the measurements. So bear with us, I am working on it. Okay, so what I wanted to do is, I've gone ahead and I've already matted these pictures. And I've matted them in white and in jade. Bear with me, these keep sliding around. I don't want to position them quite yet. So let's see, let's bring these up just a little bit more. These are the two pictures I want down at the bottom. They're at two different houses. And in my journaling, I want to make notes as to the different locations that each of the pictures were taken in. And I'm really wanting these to line up. It's going to be a close one here. So that's what I'm wanting to do there. And then on my Cricut, I had gone ahead and searched for titles, and this is the one that I found that I liked. I went ahead on the background on the white and I cut it out 3 times and layered it up just to make it a little bit more substantial. I've come in and used some of the red gems that are from Stampin' Up, and I'll always have that listed below. And then I've come in with jade and the real red cardstock for the wording and for the ornaments on here. And I'm thinking I want to come over in here and do that. Then I've come in and these borders were on a digital set from Close to My Heart. So they're no longer available, but you can obviously go in and do a search on your Cricut, on your on the artwork on Cricut and find these. And what I'm wanting to do, if it'll work, is I'm wanting to tuck these under here. Let me move this just a little. And because of the way that this page is positioned, they're going to have to like hook up in the center. And I normally am not too fond of that, so I'm wondering if I can disguise it a little. So what's going to happen, obviously, is your Cricut can only cut so far. It doesn't, you know, unless you have a much bigger, I guess, your adhesive that it sticks to cut. I guess I could get a 12 by 24, but I don't have that. So what I'm wanting to do is add that here and over here so it would tuck underneath. And I'm thinking about inking up the edges, but I'm not quite sure if I want to do that. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I'm going with that. Then I've come in with, let me pull out the right tool so I can show you. This set right here, I went ahead and I die cut the Christmas trees with this particular die. Then on a couple of them, I actually put this into the center of this. So it would go down like that on your cutting tray. And then I put that in there and just, you know, let me put that down so I can show you. It's better if I show you. So we would lay that down like that. They're hooked together. And again, I was out gardening today. I'm sorry for my hands. Trying to get them as best we can, but I absolutely love being in the garden. So, okay, so we would take that. Let's put some down here. This would go in here like that. And again, I think I've mentioned it, but this is jade cardstock, the colored jade. Then I would take this, make your sandwich, and then run this through your die cutting machine. And that's how I came up with these trees right here. Then what I did, and we might want to do this together. I'm not sure how many of you are comfortable with embossing, but let's give it a try together. We're going to try this a little bit differently. This is my magnet, and I just have a piece of tape around it so it's easier to pick it up off my mat. This is sticky, so that works out well too. And if you've never embossed, we'll go through the steps here just so you are aware. I know I have some new crafters following me. So we're going to take this powder. It's a little powdered patch pocket of like a white powder. And you just rub that on here. And the reason is to get all the electrical, so it doesn't hold your embossing powder. So, and try not to touch your hands with your oil on your hands and stuff after you've put down your powder. So then we're going to come in here with our stamp, and I'm just going to, we'll just keep it in the center. Normally I would save a little space, but I want you to be able to see this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. So now we have that down, and we're going to close our stamp positioner, and we're going to pick it up. This is Versamark, and basically it's a clear, sticky ink, and that's what helps your embossing powder stick to the design you're stamping. Sorry, I'm off to the side here. Let's get you on screen. I come over, and you want to press down, but not real heavy, because if you do, you get kind of a smushed looking line. And I'm going to try one more time. And that's what's good about a stamp. I'm sorry, I'm off screen again. A stamp positioner allows you to go back and stamp, and your paper should be in the exact same spot. Okay, I think we're good with that. So I'm going to pull this off of here. Put that aside. And I always keep some scrap paper right next to my desk for things just like this, and I like to use copy paper for this. So I take this is Hero Arts embossing powder. It's white, and it's the fine embossing powder, which I really like. You're going to spread that all over your design, and you're going to kind of tap it on the back just to make sure you get off all the pieces. I've got one there. Sometimes if I have extra little pieces on here, I will come in with a little tiny paintbrush and knock those off. So before I put heat to it, I'm going to pick this up like this and put that back in its container. So you can see you use very, very little. I mean, I've had this for several years, and I still have almost a full container, and I use it quite a bit. I'll cover back up my ink. Now this is my heat gun. It's going to make some noise when I turn it on, so I'm sorry. But you want to have it on for a few minutes and let it warm up. And then I like to heat my embossing on the front and the back, and that helps with warping, so you don't get a lot of movement in your paper. So be very careful, especially if you have little munchkins around. This gets really hot. And you'll notice that the embossing powder will start changing colors. Becomes pretty, not colors, but texture. And it becomes glossy. And do some in the back. And if you kind of turn it, you can see where it's been melted and where it hasn't been melted. And I think we got it. So then we're going to go back to our die cut, our die, the metal die. So make sure that's not too hot. And again, remember, this is going to be hot, so don't let anyone around it and stick it out of your way so you don't get hurt. And we're going to put this down on here. That looks just about right. I'll bring in my low tack tape. And I'm going to turn around and go do some die cutting. I'll be right back. To me, this looks like there is snow on the Christmas tree. So I really like that. So we're going to go ahead and use that and a couple more on the pages I'm going to create tonight. Or today, wherever you might be. Let me put some of these things away. What I'm going to go ahead and do with these is I'm going to put just a slight bit of glue on the upper portion of this, and then I'm going to lay my decorative paper on top of this. And what's nice is there's these decorative little holes here, and so I'm going to line that up just on top of those holes. And then when I come into this one where I'm going to have to overlap them, I'll be able to pretty much line that right up. So let me get that done for you. And I gotta pull out a scrap piece of paper. I test my glue there always. Okay. I think what's important to remember too when we're doing older pictures is, and me having been adopted, long story there, but I don't know some of my family history. So the family that's still with me and can answer questions for me, I have found it very important to ask those questions now and record them in my scrapbook. So you don't know what tomorrow brings. Those people could be here and gone. Trust me, I know all about that. So that's why I'm recording. Not only was this paper collection perfect for this, but some of those people are still in my life and they can answer questions for me. I was able to find out the name of the street that I lived on when these pictures were taken. I went through and pulled out all of the birthdays and figured out how old everyone was in these pictures. And I think it's really important, especially, I don't know about you, but I always thought, you know, my grandparents, you know, they were older. My grandparents in these pictures are way younger than I am now. So eye-opener there. Okay. Let's see if that'll get us what we need here. And then what I'll do is I'll just come in and cut off the extra. But I want to overlap this. And I don't want a lot of bulk, so I'm just going to do one circle there. Need to scoot it up just a little. And I'll tack some glue in here. So hopefully it won't be very visible that there's a double layer right there. And if there is, if it's visible, then that's just the way it is. So I'm gonna stick that aside just to dry for a minute. I'll do the other one and I'll be right back with you. So I've gone ahead and I've trimmed up this paper here. So I wanted to show you how I did that. I just laid down my scalpel paper and you saw me glue it on there. And obviously when you look at this off the mat, you can see that that border is going to hang off just a little. So I'm going to go ahead and just tape this down with my double stick tape. And then I'm going to trim it up after, because then I can get a true squared off corner, because I can follow the design of my base paper, the real red. this up as best I can. I do like that scalloped edge. And the part where it overlaps really isn't visible a whole lot, and I think some of my pictures are going to cover that up. So if you flip this over, obviously you'll see where it overhangs. I'll just take my detailed scissors there and cut that off. And there we have our base. So I think now it's about time to, oh my goodness. It's about time for us to glue down our pictures. And thank goodness I have a picture that will cover that. But in the meantime, I had also gone through, and there are some laser cut ephemera pieces, and I will list the collections down below. They're extremely affordable, and I just think they're so nice. I like when there's the laser cut, which means there's no white around the item. These are stars that I embossed with some red embossing powder, and I kind of like the white detail on these just because it stands out from the page. And I want to use these on the Christmas trees with the snow. And then on the other trees, I was going to use the bows. So these will go there. I'm going to put these behind the snow trees, if you will. I'll put the stars on the snow trees. I have another one here. And I'm going to put these up on some 3D foam dots just to give some dimension off of the page. This is some vellum. Pardon me, I'm looking at the title of this so I can get this correct for y'all. It's the Graceful Greenery Vellum, and it has a little bit of a texture to it. And I'm going to run this through my, I have a wide scale printer. So I'm going to run that through. And what I've already done is I've set the printing up in Word. And I've put down all the information here about how old everyone was and where the pictures were taken at and the relationships to me. And I'm going to run it through on this paper, and then I'm going to cut it out and put the vellum down here with the journaling on it. And here is one of the stockings that I cut out from the paper. Remember I told you there was a die that cut these out of the paper? So this is one of those stockings, and I'm going to put it over here with this. So let me take care of a couple of those things. I'll get most of this down, but I'll come back and share with you how I'm putting the foam dots on and how I'm putting this down on the sheet. So I'll be back. I think we're almost at the end. I came across a couple things I wanted to mention to you. I think they would be helpful. They were helpful to me. When you get the Stampin' Up! Dimensionals, I love them because they're kind of a hexagon shape, as you can see, sort of there. And they're easy to grab when you're working. But what I think a lot of people forget is that you can use these sides too, so don't throw them away. And what I do is I come in with some little scissors and just go through there and just chop up a few. And those are completely usable. So don't throw those sides away. Gotta get these little release tapes off of here. And I think on the other ones I put, I think it was 3 little dots there. And let's pull a few more of these off of here. Actually, we got a 2-for-1 right there, and I'm just gonna leave it alone because it doesn't matter. And then we'll come up here and do this one. And we'll come position that over there. Let's see. I'm trying to get an equal distance down like that one. I think that'll work. And there's our star. It's the second time that's disappeared on me. And I forgot to mention earlier that these stars are part of the stamp set that the trees come from. In fact, let me pull it over for you and I can show you. They're right there. And then I had actually cut out some little ornaments here too. I decided not to use those, but they're there. So there's a lot of extra dies in here actually that aren't even mentioned on the front. I mean, look at all these different dies that you get. I'm thoroughly enjoying that part of the Stampin' Up! Dies and stamp sets. Okay, I'm gonna come and put this tree in here. Let that firm up for a few moments. I'm gonna put the stars, what I meant to say. Okay, and then I wanted to show you a little fail on my part. This is the vellum that I had told you I was going to use, which I did use, but when I printed it, it was very difficult to read. So this is something, these pages that I want to stick around for my children for many years to come. So I didn't think that was a great idea. So instead, I came in with just printing it on some white cardstock and put it with a mat of some, what was the name of the paper again? I'm sorry. The jade cardstock. And I'm going to put that down in here. And then I'm going to put the stocking that we cut out of the paper, I'm going to put that over here with some dimensional dots. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. And I'll have some still shots at the end of the video. And please do leave any questions that you might have. I enjoy your comments. It means a lot to me. Also helps with YouTube. And again, the end of the month, I'll be giving away a stamp and a die set. So please leave a message down below. It helps me out. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye-bye.